Hey guys, and welcome back to the ASX Investor channel, and welcome to another CEO interview. Today, we'll be diving back into the lithium sector. We're all familiar with the fascinating place that it's really playing at the moment. We know that the EV battery material space has continued to heat up throughout 2020 as the price signal began, and through 2021. It's a sector that's getting a lot of attention. We know that the EV adoption is starting to pick up pace, and as demand continues to increase, of course, investors are looking towards opportunities, particularly in the near term, to get exposure to the elevated prices, and for also companies that are looking to come online and bring that production online. Today, we'll be diving into the story of Argosy Minerals. Argosy are looking towards near-term production. They've actually got their 2,000 tonnes per annum, hopefully coming online by the middle of this year. So it's going to be an exciting story to unpack, and they've obviously got a scale-up opportunity from there. We're joined by the CEO, Jerko Zuvela. It's an exciting time for ASX AGY. Jerko, welcome to the channel, mate.
Thanks very much for having me. I look forward to speaking with you.
It's an absolute pleasure. I guess before we dive into all of the news flow and everything surrounding the Argosy story, did you want to just give us that overview of who is Argosy, what's the offering that you have, and really what's the problem that you're trying to solve?
Thanks very much. Argosy Minerals is very much a lithium-focused ASX-listed company. We have our priority and key project in Argentina in the Salta province called the Rincon Project. And we also have a secondary sort of lower priority project at this stage in the US, in the state of Nevada, called the Tonopah Lithium Project, which is very close to Albemarle's Silver Peak operation, the only lithium carbonate operation in North America, and has been there for the last sort of 50 or 60 years. So those two projects are keeping us very busy, obviously Rincon more so. And yeah, Rincon, like you said, is advancing into a development stage, progressing into production later this year at a 2,000 tonne scale, and obviously we're looking to ramp that up over the coming period post that, and really become a commercial scale international lithium producer.
Yeah, it's an exciting time, plenty happening. If you can give us, a bit more of that color around the Rincon project. As you mentioned, 2,000 tonnes per annum, not too far off. I know investors are getting excited about there, and then kind of the pathway towards production towards a 10,000 tonne per annum. I know you're waiting on a couple of approvals, and then hopefully the timing will really have that smooth transition over.
That's exactly the plan. And when you sort of talked about trying to solve some problems, there's always problems to solve, I guess, in terms of trying to develop a project. That's never easy. And you know, we've seen that in the lithium sector. There's only really been Orocobre, or Allkem, as they're called now, have really the only ones who have brought a lithium carbonate operation into production over the last 25 years, and they've only done so in the last sort of 5 or 6 or 10 years. So very difficult, not easy to do. It's all about technology. Processing technology is very critical. Obviously, it's all about feeding into the batteries. Batteries have become a lot higher quality specification. Therefore, the raw materials going into them need to have very high specifications and very low impurities. So it's all about that processing, and that's very difficult to achieve. There's not a lot of experience and expertise in the sector because there's only been 3 or 4 Western companies that have had operations during that 30 or 40 years of lithium being a battery mineral. So that's very difficult, not easy to achieve, and that's some of the things that we have to deal with every day, ensuring that when we're building this project, that we build it to the highest quality specifications to produce the highest quality product. We're lucky enough that we've got a lithium processing expert as part of our team. Our local partner, he's called Pablo Alaralde. He was the first inventor of the patent that FMC/Livent, their technology is based on at the Hombre Muerto Salar, where he worked for 15 years. So again, he's a lithium processing expert, industry expert, knows about chemical processing. He's obviously produced battery quality lithium carbonate at our project, and we're obviously using his experience and expertise to develop our project. So that's what we're looking to do at the moment, to go to that 2,000 tonne per annum scale. Following that, like you said, we're awaiting permits for an additional 10,000 tonne per annum expansion. That's progressing reasonably well, albeit that we were probably hoping to have it by now. But due to unfortunate regulatory delays, mainly due to staffing issues, around the world, we're seeing COVID cause issues with staffing and so forth. We're having that here in WA as well. Whether it's the mines department here in Perth or out on site trying to get people to do what they need to do to get that approved. But we've been assured that there's no issues there. We've had recent meetings with the mining secretary of the Salta province, her team, her department. So things are progressing as required, and hopefully we'll have that in the not too distant future. and that will obviously take us to a 12,000 tonne per annum operation. On the basis of a 12,000 tonne per annum operation, we've probably got a mine life of about 14 or so years. We have done a 10,000 tonne per annum preliminary economic assessment that outlined a 16.5-year mine life at 10,000 tonne per annum scale. So slightly less, but we are looking to do some drilling probably this half. Again, we're waiting on a regulatory approval for that. That looks like it will be coming relatively soon. So we'll be able to do that resource expansion drilling this half. And obviously we'd be looking to increase the resource substantially. And then off the top of that, increase the production rate, increase the mine life. And therefore we'll be able to look at future expansion beyond 12,000 tonnes per annum over the next few years as well. So a lot going on, a lot of work to do. Again, just speaking with Pablo and our executive team at Puna, which is our subsidiary in Argentina, just recently in the last couple of days. They're very busy, non-stop. It's a very hectic time, but like you said earlier, very exciting time for us. We'll be the first or the next ASX listed lithium carbonate producer anywhere in the world. So that's very exciting for us. That will obviously attract a lot of attention to us. And once we do get that permitting for the next stage, that's going to be very exciting, because that's probably what I've been focused on the commercial side of things, the corporate side of things, while Pablo and the team have been building the 2,000 tonne per annum project. I've been working on securing the financing or the funding that we need to build the 10,000 tonne per annum expansion. And that's progressing very well. And hopefully this quarter or this half anyway, we'll have some very positive news about a full CapEx funding solution with a strategic group who will also secure the offtake for the 2,000 and the 10,000 tonne scale operations. And tied in with the approvals, hopefully in the second half of this year, we'll be up and running to start constructing that scale of project and really establish ourselves as an international lithium carbonate, battery quality lithium carbonate producer amongst a few of the other peers that we've got in the sector, given there's not many in that sector at the moment.
It was really interesting hearing that discussion surrounding, of course, Pablo, the technology. And we know that with production, there's a few key things that investors are looking for. Obviously, it's about process, particularly with the lithium brine extraction process, and then also the opportunity surrounding product. As you've mentioned, producing that battery grade product. Can you talk about the process and the technology and what you think it enables Argosy to stand out for across against the peers?
Yeah, obviously, it's very much based on that expertise that Pablo and his team have established. We've got a pilot plant in operation. We've been producing product and sold product from the pilot plant. We're still selling a little bit of product at the moment, and obviously the prices are astronomical. Over $30,000 a tonne, pushing $40,000 a tonne, and we use the CIF North Asia pricing. Obviously, the China price is more of an internal China price, but even though CIF North Asia international prices are pushing up towards $40,000 a tonne, so that's very exciting for us. In terms of that technology, we've been able to refine that and improve that via our pilot plant, and the works we've done there with a bit of ion exchange and resin technology, and really ensuring that the evaporation ponds that we've got in place, concentrating that brine, removing some of those salts in that brine to when we need to process. So we've been able to refine that technology using the pilot plant. That's something a lot of our peers haven't been able to do. They don't have a pilot plant, so it's very difficult to refine your technology, prove it up. Unfortunately, this industry hasn't had a lot of experience in that regard. So a lot of the engineering firms and the feasibility studies we've seen that haven't really been successful. People like Nemaska and North American Lithium, and even Tianqi here in Perth with the hydroxide plant, have had struggles building their plants because there isn't a lot of expertise building this stuff. So even the high-tech engineering firms, they've never built these lithium processing facilities in the past either. So it's very much a new industry, or a very immature industry, where there's a lot more to learn. And that's why having Pablo, who's been there and done that with FMC Livent for many years, got that experience and got that know-how, and building it in a staged approach, going from the pilot plant to the 2,000 tonne plant to the 12,000 tonne operation, is very much a de-risking exercise for all of our shareholders and all of our investors, because, like I said earlier, some of these other companies, Nemaska and so forth, have burned a lot of shareholder money, unfortunately, and that's something that no one in the sector wants for any of us, whether it's us or any of our peers. So really, I think that step-by-step staged approach is very much fundamental to ensuring your technology success, but also ensuring that you don't go and build a big project and have some issues, and cause potential losses for shareholders. We're definitely not looking to go down that path. We think we want to add value every step of the way. Obviously, looking at those lithium prices at the moment, getting the production at 2,000 tonne scale, that generates a lot more money as well. And then that enables us to get to 10,000. Obviously, having that 2,000 tonne per annum operation built and processing successfully gives us a lot more confidence to then go forward with the 10,000 tonne operation as well. And like I said, it's very difficult for others to have confidence in that technology without proving it up. I think a staged approach is the way to go. We've seen that with Galaxy's, or formerly Galaxy's project in Hombre Muerto as well. They've gone a staged approach as well. So I think that's the way to do things, and hopefully that's a little bit more successful. And from our perspective, it's a lot lower capex as well. If you're looking at a 30 or 40,000 tonne per annum operation, you might be looking at $500, $600, $700 million US as capex. And at the moment, no one's investing those sort of funds into new lithium producers. So very difficult to get capex funding if you've got such a large capex requirement. So again, for us, it's been around $20 million US to build the 2,000 tonne operation. Our PEA says it's about another 140 million US plus VAT, plus some working capital, plus some costs, inflation costs and increased costs since that PEA back 3.5 years ago. So we're looking at around those sort of numbers plus a little bit extra, but that's not a big number compared to $500, $600, $700 million capex. So we think that stage approach is the way to go. We think we're leading the sector in that regard. We think we've got probably the best team in Argentina to build a lithium project. So again, we think we're doing everything in a de-risked manner, ensuring that our shareholders see the benefits of that, ensuring that new investors, strategic investors, see the benefit of that. And we're very much looking forward to getting a production, realizing these high lithium prices, which will be a big benefit again because no one else is getting into production from an ASX perspective. And that's very much a pathway to go into 12,000 tonnes per annum over the next couple of years.
Just building on that one as well, of course, that's on the Rincon side, but you've got the Tonopah side in Nevada, located right near Albemarle's Silver Peak operation as well. We'd love just to hear some thoughts about how you're considering that. Obviously, it's still in the earlier stages in the exploration, but also some opportunities potentially that you could take from the Rincon development through to Tonopah if it does eventually move towards production.
Yeah, very much like our staged approach at Rincon. Having those successes in Argentina will put us in good stead for trying to develop the Tonopah project as well. Obviously, there's other factors at play, obviously regulatory approvals and so forth. And like you said, it's a very early stage project. We've only done some geophysical surveying work at the moment. Our next step for perhaps this year or by around mid-year, we're hoping to go and do some drilling there. It's unfortunately not as easy as in Argentina, given that the Rincon Salt Lake, the brine comes all the way to the surface, whereas in Tonopah, where we are in the Big Smoky Valley and leading into the Clayton Valley there, the brine is where we are, a lot deeper, down to sort of 300 to 700 metres from the surface. So obviously a lot deeper drilling, a lot higher risk drilling as well. It's not as simple as, like I said, drilling in Argentina where you can dig a hole and find the brine. So it's pretty easy in Argentina. But we're very much looking forward to it. It's a great jurisdiction to work, Nevada. The US obviously wants to take a very much a leading pathway to EVs and battery production. We're seeing a lot more progress both from the government and private sector about developing that battery industry, that EV industry. So again, we've only seen Albemarle Silver Peak operation producing lithium carbonate. There's a lot of talk about others producing in North America. Obviously a lot of spodumene perhaps in Canada, but no one else has really started a development pathway with their US project. So again, we're probably maybe not ready to go immediately, but again, that's an opportunity for us, taking the leverage and the expertise that we've learnt in Argentina and applying that to Tonopah, and maybe over the next 4 to 5 years, we can prove up a good resource. If we can prove up a good resource, we've got a pathway to get into production with the knowledge and expertise, and maybe Pablo or one of the team in Argentina can lead the way up in Tonopah, go up there and build the project up there as well. So like I said, there's a lot of interest and demand in the US. It's going to be critical. Whatever we do in Argentina will be separate to that in Tonopah in terms of offtake and strategic partners. So there is the opportunity for a big US group or a Western country sector leader to come in and support us down that path when we're able to prove that project up a bit further and get it ready for development.
And so then I guess just shifting the hats over from the project development side onto the commercial side, keen to hear an update on how commercial discussions are going in terms of offtake and also how the customer discussions are going. We obviously can see the prices continue to get more and more elevated over time. Demand is evidently out there. Just some, word on the ground. How are you hearing it all play out and what are your general thoughts on it all?
Yeah, what we're seeing in the market at the moment is very much a China-driven demand. So it's obviously a lot of Chinese companies that are pushing the price up, and obviously that is then reflecting in the CIF prices that I talked about. We're still seeing some, the existing producers, their contract pricing is still very much well below the spot price. I'm sure that will increase in time. But what we're seeing at the moment is a lot of interest from Chinese companies that require product. They can't get their hands on it. The existing producers don't have enough product or capacity to be able to produce for them. So prior to Christmas, we're probably getting 2 calls a week just asking, can we supply you product? And obviously, people are aware of that we are getting into production, so it is very exciting for us. But really, what we've made very clear all along is that strategic partnership, that strategic investment that will fund that capex for the 10,000 tonne expansion. They'll have the first right to access the product for the 2,000 and the 10,000. So those discussions are going ahead very well. We've had a lot of interest, especially sort of since that price shot up in the last 3 or 4 months, probably from about September. We've had a lot of interest. We've had a lot of strategic groups come to site to do their site inspections, visit Pablo and the team. Again, that's all very positive. We've probably identified some lead groups or lead companies that we feel that will be best placed to work with and support what we're trying to do. So there's always a compromise, I guess, in terms of what we need, what the counterparty needs, and how that balances up to give us what we all need. And I guess what we're targeting is a group that's very much focused on securing lithium carbonate product for the long term. Obviously, that's probably the right strategic partner for us, the right offtake partner for us, and securing the financing associated with that by probably some prepayment, offtake prepayment terms. Maybe a little bit of equity as well to give them some interest in the company at corporate level, at Argosy level. But that's very much the discussions we're having at the moment. We are advancing with those discussions, and hopefully, like I said, over the next 3 or 4 months, we'll be looking to formalise that and make an announcement to our shareholders and to the market about how we've progressed with that. And like I said, we're very much looking forward to that announcement because we think it is very positive. Like I said, it gives us very much a pathway to increase production to 12,000 tonnes per annum, and we'll have hopefully a very large strategic partner working with us to make all that happen, and someone that we feel very comfortable working with and supplying our lithium carbonate product to. Like I said, not for the short term, but for the long term over long-term offtake arrangements. So very exciting. I'd love to be able to share more with you, but that's confidential and sensitive discussions at the moment. Nothing's obviously formalised. Nothing that we can announce at the moment, but if things keep going the way they are, hopefully we'll have some good news for our shareholders in the not too distant future.
Plenty of excitement then and opportunities to look towards. I guess just wrapping that all up together, for those longer term ASX AGY shareholders who have maybe followed the journey for a while, or those prospective holders who might be looking at Argosy now, did you have any final reflections you wanted to share with them and just some of those key growth drivers to really look out for over the next 12 months?
Oh, very much so. So, there's a lot happening. This, 2022 is going to be a very much transformational year for Argosy. First steps, we're going to be able to increase our resource substantially. We've got a good exploration target that will very much increase not only our resource, but increase our production rate in the future to expand to. We'll have a longer mine life as well. So, we'd be looking to increase the resource, increase the production life, increase the production rate substantially over the next 6 months. So that's very much a key driver. Obviously, the 2,000 tonne per annum production or operation getting into production from the middle of the year, maybe July, August, starting production and generating revenues. Like you said, very high lithium prices. You run the numbers there. It's very exciting for us to be able to generate those sort of revenues later this year. And obviously getting the 10,000 tonne per annum permitting again hopefully over the next quarter or so. that will sort of come through, given we're very clear and we've got a very good relationship with the mines department in Salta province and the mining secretary. We understand exactly what they need. They understand what we need. We're working together with them, so we know that will happen. They see this as a priority project in the Salta province, so we're very comfortable about that process. If it does take a little bit longer, again, it's not a big impact on us. And then and then starting construction of that 10,000 tonne expansion, and that's everything we expect to be doing this year. So that's very exciting. On top of Tonopah, if we can establish a good resource there, looking at some peer comparables, we think there's a lot of value upside in the business. And even looking at some of the transactions and the M&A that's happened over the last 6 months, we still think the best bang for buck for our shareholders is getting into production when you've got lithium prices at these prices. It creates a lot more value getting in production, realizing revenues and generating profits, and that's going to enable us to do a lot more things in the future by having those revenues and profits in our bank balance, in our bank accounts, and that enables us to further look at expansion in the future, going from 12,000 in the future to a lot more. That's something we'll definitely be able to do. And for our long-term shareholders, it's been quite a ride, obviously during the lean times, but we're very excited about what's to come in the next few years for sure.
That's the Argosy Minerals story. It's ASX AGY. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the like button. Feel free to share it out. If you're new here, welcome. We make daily videos each and every day, so make sure you've subscribed and turn your bell notifications on. Jerko Zuvela, exciting times, mate. I really appreciate your time for joining us. And yeah, look forward to catching up again in the future and hearing about how everything goes on the pathway towards production.
Thanks very much for your time today. We really look forward to what's to come and keeping all our shareholders and your investors informed as well. We look forward to next time.